So in this video, we're going to talk about describing an nth figure. And remember, n just stands for the figure number you're in. So nth just means any kind of figure you would ever want to know about. So this number could replace with fifth. So we could describe the fifth figure. We could describe the 100th figure, okay? So we're just going to look at describing something that's too big for us to actually draw out. So first you have to find a pattern that you see happening. And so this is tricky because you guys may not see it how I see it. And there's lots of different ways to see it. It's all about how you personally group it, okay? If there's a pattern that's always in your picture, that's as a constant, and it's going to be in the picture no matter what number you're in. And then you have to relate each piece back to its figure number. So I know in the past we've say, oh, they're adding 4 each time, but I don't really care about that now when I'm describing something. I care about how it related back to the figure I was in. So in this first one, this is figure 1, figure 2, and figure 3. So one way you can group this image is by seeing that this middle circle is always there, okay? So when we talk about the 100th figure, that middle circle is always going to be there. No matter what figure you're in. The next way I see this is I see a group right here of 2, I see a group of 3, and I see a group of 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at this figure right now. So I'm going to ignore the other 2 figures. I know that there are 3 of those in the second figure. So there are 3 in the second one, and then there are 4 in the third one. So what I notice between these 2 numbers right here is there is one more circle than where I'm at. So if I'm in figure 3, there was one more, so 4. So in the 100th figure, there are going to be a lot of circles right here, but I know it's going to be one more than the 100th, so there would be 101 circles. Okay? I also know that that other row of 3 is on the other side. So same thing, if there are 3 in the second one, there was one more than where I was. So I know there's going to be 101 circles going that way as well. Now I'm going to look at the other part of the leg. So that would be the legs going up and down. I see that there are 4 in the second one. Same thing up here. So how that number relates is there are 2 more than where I was. So let me make sure that double checks right here. There are 5 in the third one, so there are 2 more than where I was. So if I'm in the 100th figure, that means there's going to be 2 more than that. So there's going to be 102 going that way, and same thing, 102 going that way. Okay, so I've described an nth figure. We could do this for any figure number, knowing that there'd be 1 more or 2 more than where I was. So there's another way you can look at this. So we're going to look at it a different way to kind of help us understand. Another way you could look at this problem is notice that there are 5 in every single problem. Okay? So in the 100th figure, those 5 circles are still going to be there. Okay? So now I need to look at some groups again to figure out how many pieces are coming off. I know I have pieces going in each diagonal. I just need to see how many. So again, this is the first one, the second one, and the third one. So I'm going to look at this one little leg down here. There was 1 circle in the first one. There was 2 circles in the second one. There are 3 circles in the third one. So what I notice is that this number where I'm at matches. So in the 100th, that tells me there are going to be 100 going that way and 100 going up and down because these were the same. Okay? So notice, if there's a circle that matches and 2 circles that match that too, you're going to have the same number. So now I need to look at this top left and that bottom right. So there were 3 in that second figure. Okay? So I can either tell that there was 1 more than there were right there, or I can tell that there was 1 more circle than where I was at. So if I was in 100, there would need to be 1 more. So there would be 101 going like that. And this makes sense because if I had 100 here, there should be one more on that side based off of this picture. There was one more on that right than there was on the left, okay? So that's how you describe something in the nth figure, and in this case, the 100th figure. So let's take a look at some more examples to get some practice. So here is a pattern. I notice that the 4 in the middle are always there. Okay, so in the 100th figure, those 4 are always going to be there. Okay, now I'm going to look at it as these little legs are individual pieces. Okay, so this is in figure 2, and there were 2 circles right here. So since that number matches up with that 2, and there were 3 in the third, and there was 1 in the 1, that means in the 100, there's going to be 100 going that way. And since I know that there are the same amount going off of all those, that means there's going to be 100 going this way, 100 going that way, and 100 going up there. Okay? So that's one way of describing the 100th figure in this case. Let's take a look at another way we could view it. You could also kind of split these into circles like this and look at each individual one. So here's the first one, the second one, and the third one. So I know if I figure out one of them, I figured out all of them because they're all in groups of 2. So let's look at this, this, and this. So there are 2 circles in the 1. There were 3 circles in the 2, and there were 4 in the 3. So what I notice is where I am has one more circle. Okay, so it didn't have 2 and 2, it had 3 and 2. So there was one more. So in the 100th figure, there's going to be some kind of circle, some kind of circle, some kind of circle, some kind of circle, but there needs to be one more. So that means that's going to be made up of 101. That's going to have 101 circles, 101 circles, and 101 circles. Okay? Again, I knew it was 101 on all of them because they all had the same amount of circles. All right, let's look at another example. So here we have an L. One way you can view the circle is kind of looking at the bottom as a piece, and then looking at the top, or that top side going up as a piece. So again, this is the first one, the second one, and the third one. So let me take a look at the bottom. So there were 2 in the 1, there are 3 in the 2, and there are 4 in the 3. So again, I notice that there is one more block than where I am. So in the 100th, there needs to be one more block than where I am, so there's going to be 101. So now you just need to figure out how many are going up and down. Again, there were 2 and 3, so it matched up just like with before. There was one more than where I was, so that means there's going to be 101 also going up and down. Okay? Another way we could look at this problem is maybe grouping it just the top and then that side piece. So all of the top, side piece. All of the top, that side row. So this is the first one, the second one, and the third one. So let's take a look at in the 100th, how many would be going up and down versus out. I noticed that there was 1, 2, 3 in the first one. So that means there are 2 more blocks than where I was. So if I was in the 100th, that means there'd be 102 there. With this side block, notice there was 1 in the 1, 2 in the 2, 3 in the 3. So those numbers matched up exactly. So that means in the 100, there's going to be 100 going out. Okay? All right. One last problem. So I want you guys to try this one on your own. So press pause, and then I'll show a couple of ways you could have done this. And if your way did not match up with mine, please let me know. So press pause now. Last time I did this, I saw that these 3 boxes were always there. So in the 100th figure, those 3 boxes are always going to be there. The next thing I had to do was deal with this top row and this bottom row. So I saw that there were 3 boxes in the second one, so that means there's one more box than where I am. So that's why I had 101 going on the top and as well as the bottom. So now we're going to look at our last one. Another way you could have looked at it, maybe you saw that this one box was always there. So in the 100th box, it will always be there. So then you had to look at this bigger top as one and notice that there are 3 in the one, so that's 2 more than where you are. So there had to be 102 on the top and on the bottom. Okay, so if you had a different way, I'm more than happy to help check answers. Otherwise, that is how you draw the nth figure, or the 100th, or the 200th. So now you can practice and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.